So I was watching the 9 Club Experience on my lunch break, and they started covering the new Sk8mafia video that just dropped. And one of the things I know that they highlighted was the trick that Alexis Ramirez did around the planner. And 2 things came to mind when I saw it is, 1, this absolutely deserves a highlight. This is an amazing trick. Second thing is, I know people are gonna start naming this trick wrong because they're gonna look at how the trick looks when it's being done versus how he actually got into it, and that's what they're gonna name the trick for. So one thing I wanted to cover in this quick video is why the trick is a frontside feeble and not a backside smith. So first thing is the approach. If you watch the video where I talk about why fakie tricks are named improperly compared to the other stances, then the same basic principles apply, and you would know just by looking at the way that he approached the planner that it's a frontside feeble, no questions asked. No more conversation or debate on it at all. But let's just dig a little bit deeper just because why not? So when it comes to the way that he's doing it, because it does look like a backsmith or traditional backsmith on a box or a rail if you're trying to just backsmith and then pop out on the same side. One thing to take note is he's doing a frontside feeble around a circle. So obviously he's not going to be leaning outside of the planner, and he's not going to be leaning back either. The problem with what people are perceiving it to be a backsmith for is the fact that he has to be able to put his nose a little bit lower, and he has to lean into the planner because of the fact of he's trying to go around the circle. He's not just trying to lock in and pop out immediately. He's trying to go completely around, so the weight that he is shifting towards the inside of the planner once he locks in is able to actually get him to stay locked in perfectly and be able to go around the planner. And that's why it looks like a backside smith. And for some people, well, he popped out and it looks like a backsmith. There's no right or wrong way to pop out of a front feeble compared to a backsmith. There's no way to distinguish literally which one is which, especially if you're going in a circle like he did. So again, he points the nose down. He can't put it to where it's actually more flush with the planner, because then he's just going to end up hitting the planner and coming to a stop. He has to actually have his weight put inside the planner and his nose being pointed down more, so that way his weight is not going level with where the planner is. It's going into the planner, keeping him inside of it as long as possible until he's able to pop out once he goes completely around. And that's why it is a front feeble, because again, his approach, that is the only thing that would really need to be talked about. He is approaching it with the obstacle in front of him. So it is a front side, no matter what else you want to add to it, it is a front side trick. That makes it to where it's a front side feeble, not a backside smith. Much like what Raj was saying, if you had a gap in the planner and he was doing his trick, it would then be considered a backside smith. But the thing is, there is no gap. So the hypothetical is null and void. It is a frontside feeble. Let's be a little bit extra and give 1 or 2 examples of other tricks that, because it is done a little bit differently because they're going around a circle, why people would name it wrong. So you have Ben Hatchell's frontside smith ender for his Powell fun part. He's locking into a frontside smith because the rail is curved. He has to be able to lean in such a way so that way he can actually go around it properly without just completely falling off. It's still a smith. He's just leaning appropriately to make sure that he goes around the curve enough to get to the bottom and pop out of the trick. And it looks like what you would see for Chase Webb's backside feeble grind in his newest X Games Real Street part, where again, because of the motion of going around the curve, he has to be able to lean into the half circle so that way he doesn't fall off. So people debating on, well, look, he's leaning into it, that's null and void. That doesn't mean anything. It's like saying because someone is doing a backside nose blunt and they're not dipped towards the sky with the tail going towards the clouds, that is not a backside nose blunt. That's like saying you look at Costin's backside nose blunt on Hubba Hideout, and Chris Cole's back nose blunt in Ride the Sky, that Chris Cole's is an ollie over to frontside no slide because it's not dipped to the sky. That's stupid. You look at Booznitz's ender for the cinematographer project that came out, he's doing a backside nose blunt around the curve at 3rd and Army. The thing is, it's still a nose blunt, but when you look at it, he's not leaning appropriately for what would be a straight ledge nose blunt. Because obviously he's going in a curve, so he has to be able to adjust accordingly so that way he doesn't just fall off. And being at that spot personally, that white bar falling over the side really is dangerous. Not even just painful, it's very dangerous. I've wrecked my back on that thing and it sucks. So he's trying to lean towards the curve appropriately, so he's not completely straight with the ledge as far as how he's doing his nose blunt, but it's still a nose blunt because he has to adjust appropriately so that way he doesn't fall. So to conclude this video, Alexis Ramirez, when he's going around the planner, it's still a frontside feeble regardless if he's dipped really far into the planner or not, because of the fact of one, his approach makes it a frontside feeble regardless, and two, the reason he's leaning that far is so that way he doesn't eat shit. That's it. He's trying to make sure that he actually can go around the entire thing, so he has to shift his weight appropriately to make sure that he does the trick right, goes all the way around, and then he just pops out. Plain and simple. That's it. I don't know why there's even a debate on this. It is a frontside feeble strictly because of the way that he approached it. Everything else is just extra information. Again, just wanted to make this video to make a little bit clearer for a lot of people, because seeing on Instagram a lot of people debating on if it really is a frontside feeble or not, or if it's a backsmith. It is a frontside feeble. End of debate. No more needs to be said about it. Amazing trick regardless. Have a good one.